Tell me a little bit about Midday. What do you do? Who do you guys sell to? And I know you kind of as co-founder and CTO have a certain spot in there, but I'm kind of curious as to what the teams that you're working with are doing with notifications.
Yeah, so Midday started out of frustration basically from running my own consultant firm. And together with my co-founder and best friend Victor, who also runs his own design studio for several years, we found that we used a lot of different tools for sending invoicing, tracking hours, going into the old 90s bank to check your finances, and all those kind of mundane tasks that you usually have as a business owner. So we figure why can't we just use open banking and connect to your bank account, give you nice graphs, build a time tracker feature, send invoices, store files, but also do that in a modern interface with assistant, of course, and all those kind of new shiny things, provide you with the right information when you need it, and such. And basically, we are open source as yourselves. We build in public. We've been working tirelessly for 1 year now, full time since May, reaching version one in Q1 next year. And of course, a lot of nice challenges and experiences along the way. But that's basically what Midday is right now, and I'm excited for the future.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about your tech stack. So what are you built on, front end, back end?
Yeah, so we have full Next.js app in a monorepo architecture. We have Superbase as our primarily backend. We use some Cloudflare workers also for our engine. So our engine is basically a API layer between the bunch of different banking providers that we have. So we support connections in all Europe, US, Canada, and soon Brazil. So basically, we rely heavily on Supabase for database authentication, storage, all those kind of things. Trigger.dev for background queues, and of course Novo for our notification infrastructure, um, and a lot of other great solutions.
Nice.
We host front end on Vercel is good to say also. So we front end heavy there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But what did you prior to finding Novu, did you approach notifications? How'd you deal with them?
So this is the nice thing. I've been working as a consultant for several years, and you always stumble upon this kind of common patterns when you're building startups and things. And I've been used to be hired as a CTO or a architect or similar as on startups, and you usually end up with a native app in the end, or React Native app usually. And you have a front end with Next, and you have a back end, and then you build something together with notifications. You have, I don't know, AWS for email, and then you have Expo for push notifications, etc. So I already knew from the beginning that I wanted a central notification system, and I have used Novo before, and I have no reason to change that. So I just continue with what I use and what I love. So there was no brainer for me to not use Novo in Midday.
Fantastic. So, if notifications have kind of been built into this whole process all along for you at Midday, like what is that? How do you kind of envision that customer experience? So that end user experience, they like what types of notifications are you sending? What
Yeah.
channels are you sending them on? Like what type of
Yeah.
content or payloads are you sending?
Yeah. So media is all about to be on top of your business, like know what's happening, take action based on the things you get notified about. And the most important one is, of course, you have new transactions. You can then reply with your receipts, and we parse that with OCR technology, so it's pre solved for accountant purposes. So basically, we're sending a lot of just transactional emails with new transactions, which you then can reply to. And then you can send an invoice to your customer to get paid, right? And those emails are getting sent out if it's overdue or you need to pay soon. And if you get paid because we match that value to a unpaid invoice. So we have a lot of notifications both in app. So we use your React component. We style it to be on our branding, of course. So I guess that uses what is it? Live. It's like live WebSocket, right? WebSocket. Yeah. Um,
Okay, so let's talk about. You talked like a little bit about challenges and what you're doing with Nova and how you're going to implement it. And as you've kind of built this thing from scratch, tell me a little bit about the implementation or integration process of Novo into Midday.
yeah. So basically, we have I would say a monorepo where we have a notification package, which of course uses Nova, where we batch send notifications from our background jobs. Usually, we trigger a batch job with notifications, which could be in-app or also email. And now later on, when we have the native app, we're gonna of course have in-app push notifications. So that's like a no-brainer for me to just add channel and then add a provider. In this case, going to be Expo, and then of course all the certificates and stuff for Android and Apple. So like that flow for me, just basically add a provider and a channel to add one more platform is golden. And for emails, we use React Email to style them, which means we actually render them to HTML. We send a payload with a variable called HTML. And on your side, we actually use that variable as HTML for all the content within. Uh, and yeah, it works flawlessly. So it's really good.
Has there been a point where you launched Midday, you get a bunch of users in, and then you came back and added a new notification stream? Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and if so, like how did that engagement change with your end users? Like how did they begin to use your platform kind of more strategically as a result of that?
I mean, we have had the roadmap and the plan for Midday up all the time. We said like coming soon for invoice, for example, and we just recently launched our invoice feature, and that included for sure, of course, notifications, emails, and all those kind of things like overdue, paid, unpaid. So I haven't added like a new tweaked notification, but it's rather like a full-fledged feature. But we get a lot of responses like we truly love the like it's actually paid. I got those kind of notification. It's pretty neat. Uh, so yeah, people love them. And we actually have a lot of ideas of notifications moving forward. We want Midday basically to work for you. We have our own assistant which works for you in behind the scene, and we want to push notification when you actually have something that have happened, sort of like you have 5 actions that you need to take action on, or we matched 5 transactions against these receipts, for example. So we have a lot of ideas how we're gonna optimize this workflow.
Anything else you want to dive in on, add on or expand on that we didn't directly talk about?
I mean, of course, I think one thing that is worth mentioning, of course, you are open source and you're driving the way forward with that, and I'm actually quite thankful for that because Midday is also fully open source. We look at the bigger ones, and yeah, just I always want to say thanks for being open source.